Hi everyone, welcome to season 1, episode 5 of Mommy and Me tutorials.
So we have another question on fractions. Yes?
Yes.
Would you like to begin?
Sebastian purchased a total of 1,000 shells.
So wait, Sebastian had to buy shells? You can't just pick them up from the bottom of the ocean?
No, that you can't just go and pick up shells from the bottom of the floor, the ocean floor.
Is that stealing?
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. And?
He gave King Triton 400 shells and Melody received 3/5 of the remainder.
So what would King Triton do with shells though? 400 shells?
He would use them to decorate his palace.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Do you think he might paint them? No, shells are already colored. Maybe. Okay.
They're pink.
And Melody received 3/5 of the remainder. So the first step we need to do is calculate this remainder. After Sebastian gave King Triton 400 shells. So Sebastian had his shells presumably in a bag. I don't think he could hold 1,000 shells in his claws, could he?
Oh, of course, the bags on the water, just like this one.
Right. So what do we do first?
Well, we know that the amount of shells that Sebastian purchased is 1,000 shells.
Okay.
Since he gave King Triton 400 shells,
Right.
the remaining would be the total, which is 1,000 minus how much was given to King Triton, which is 400, to get 600 remaining shells.
All right. So now we have 600 shells remaining in our bag. And the second part of the sentence told us,
Melody received 3/5 of the remainder.
Who's Melody?
Ariel's daughter,
Okay.
from The Little Mermaid 2.
All right. And she received 3/5 of this remainder. So how do we calculate that?
So step 2 is to calculate the number of shells Sebastian gave to Melody,
Which is 3/5 of
the
this
remainder.
remainder.
which is 600 shells.
So how do we calculate that?
So 5 divided by 5 is 1.
Okay.
And I'm going to divide into our numerator now, which is 600, right?
Mhm.
And 5 divided by 60
Mhm.
is 12.
Right, got you.
And 5 divided by 0 is 0.
Okay. So that's 120 in our numerator.
Now we need to multiply across our numerators. 120 times 3 is equal to 360 shells given to Melody.
So this is the amount that Sebastian gave to Melody. Okay. So now Melody has 360 shells. What do we do next? So they told us.
However, Sebastian then sold 1/5 of the remaining shells.
So pause. So what do we mean by remaining shells? So he gave Melody 360 shells. He had 600 shells in his bag. So now we need to calculate this remaining shells. So how do we do that?
Well, we should to calculate the number of shells remaining after giving Melody 360 shells, we should take our new total that is in the bag, which is 600 shells, minus the 360 he gave to Melody, which would be 240 shells remaining.
So now we have 240 shells remaining in our bag. Okay, but what does the next part of our question tell us though? That Sebastian sold 1/5 of this remaining shells. So we need to calculate 1/5 of this remaining amount. Okay. So calculate
the number of shells sold. So we're going to recall that 240 shells were remaining.
Yeah, in our bag.
In our bag. So sold would be 1/5 times 240 over 1. So we're going to divide now. 5 divided by 5 is 1.
Right.
5 divided by 24 is 4. Our remainder now is 4 because 5 times 4 is 20.
So I'm just going to put 4 there.
4.
And that's supposed to be 40. 40 here.
Yes. So 40 divided by 5 is 8.
So this becomes 48.
And there we have it. 1 times 48 is 48 shells that Sebastian sold.
Okay. So that is the 1/5 that he sold. He sold 48 shells. Okay, what does the next part of the question tell us?
However, Sebastian then sold 1/5 of the remaining shells in batches of 12.
12. Okay, so we need to calculate how many batches of 12 we have.
So to calculate the number of batches sold, that would be, well, we know that 12 shells is equal to one batch.
Right, because the question told us that one batch had 12 shells. Okay.
So the number of batches sold would be 48 shells, which is the total that he sold,
Mhm.
divided by how many shells is in one batch, which would
Okay.
give us 4 batches.
Right, so 48 divided by 12 is 4. So we have 4 batches. What do we need to do next? Question told us what next.
So in batches, it was sold in batches
Batches.
of 12 for $8 per batch.
So the cost per batch is $8.
Dollars.
How many batches do we have?
4 batches.
Okay, so now we need to,
Calculate the amount of money earned.
which is,
One batch is equal to $8.
right,
Hence, 4 batches would be $8 times 4, which is equal to $32.
no, and this is the amount of money that
Sebastian earned.
earned. So what is Sebastian going to do with his $32 though?
Well,
Buy more shells?
no. He's going to buy a cake,
A cake for who?
a seaweed cake
A seaweed cake?
for himself.
All right, no problem. And that's it, everyone. The answer for this question is $32.